Restaurant Unstoppable. What the most successful restaurateurs know that you don't.
Bro, oh man.
What's up, Angel?
What's up?
Rock and roll, baby, with the mask on.
Oh, thank you. I didn't even notice that until now. Boom. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest. He is the founder of Eat Clean Bro, a meal delivery service that started from a conversation at the gym and a vision to help people be more healthy. In 2013, after 7 failed attempts and only $300, Eat Clean Bro was finally able to get off the ground and hasn't stopped scaling since. As of 2019, Eat Clean Bro has tens of thousands of customers across 11 states, and I know you've scaled recently beyond that. But with no further ado, Jamie Giovinazzo, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I'm unstoppable, baby.
Yes, that is what we like to hear, and I can't wait to dive into your story. Real quick, though, tell us what the current numbers are as far as how far you've scaled since 2019.
We've scaled way more.
Way more. How many states are you in now?
Geez. You know, I think we're in the same amount of states, but I always just, anytime when I think about it, the idea that anybody in Alabama can order Eat Clean Bro, as like a kid who came from the gym, who was cooking for his friends, and not just but just Alabama, dude. We service 100% of Alabama. That state just blows my mind.
Yeah, man.
Just like as a kid from Jersey, you know, like that's just, as a businessman, like that place was just never on my radar. Like, yeah, you want to get down to Florida, but like Alabama, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think we might even be in parts of, I'm not sure if we're in Louisiana, but the Alabama.
I know
one
that
really
I think it was
blows my
in
mind.
2014 or something, maybe 2015. I saw some numbers. You guys were doing like 1.5 million, and in 4 years from that point, you scaled to 15 million gross.
Yeah.
And that was in 2019, just to get the listeners an idea of the rate of growth you guys have been experiencing. And it's crazy. But before we dive into your full story, let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
A man can fail many times, but he is not a failure until he gives up.
Yes, man. Great way to get this thing started. And I think it's a perfect way for you to start this conversation, because 7 attempts before finally getting traction. But why don't you bring it back to when this thing all first started to take off?
So we started to take off in the fourth quarter of 2014.
But it started back even beyond that, right? You were 19 years old.
Yeah, in 2005. So in 2005, I was completely shredded. Unlike now, dad bod.
Hey, good thing the dad bod's in right now, though.
I was shredded in 2012. I was in pretty good shape in 13 and 14. But as like the business grew and my responsibility grew and my stress level grew and just life just kept coming at me faster and faster and like, you know, I cook for really famous people, man. And when they call my phone, dude, I stop what I'm doing and I make sure they're taken care of. So there's just so much money on the line, but that's why I'm not shredded anymore. So there's this guy, Peter, on the internet who's calling me fat. So, hey, fuck you, Peter.
You all heard it. You heard it right here. Restaurant Unstoppable.
I'm unstoppable, Peter. I was shredded when I was 18 too, Peter.
Bring us back to that time, though, when you were 19 years old, and somebody reaching out to you or asking, like, you know,
it's a really funny Jersey, like, gym rat story, and I always joke around, like, I was a gym rat before it was cool to be a gym rat.
Yeah.
So if there was Instagram back in 2005, I'd be the jerk with 1 million followers getting paid to show my abs. But so in 2005, a stranger came up to me and was like, "What do you eat?" And I said, chicken, sweet potatoes, and broccoli, because that's all I ate. And the guy asked me if I could make him some. So I wasn't really thinking about a business. I was just thinking, man, if I could cook for this guy and I could keep my personal trainer money, then like I could make like $200 a week. And that's all I really wanted when I was 19 years old, So I started cooking for him. I was like, look, Matt, I'll do your meals for $3. And I started cooking his food. And then the next day, he went to his office, and the two guys in his office wanted food too. So he came to me and he was like, Jamie, can you make their food too? I said, yo, Matt, like, I could keep your price at $3, but your boy's got to pay $5. And then I just started, and then like what was ironic was it was my first time, and I just scooped up this massive corporate account, and all these, like, back in 2005, 2006, the mortgage industry was on fire. So I started cooking for all these mortgage, like, brokers, and like everybody was just, it was like Wolf of Wall Street, man. They were buying it. They're like, go get him, kid. Go get it. Take all the food I made them, just throw it in the garbage. Like, just real wild. It was like a really wild, I never really told that part of the story, but like the people I was cooking for back in 2005, and along the way, I failed a bunch of times. Simply because I was just not prepared to own a business. I was not prepared to run a food business. A lot of people really don't know the intricacies of like
Absolutely,
food,
yeah.
and the just the level of responsibility it takes to be successful doing this. Like, to run a successful food business, you need to nail the friggin' every single step of the journey. So like, even something stupid like you sit down at a restaurant and the busboy doesn't clear your drink fast enough, you know, that could piss someone off and they don't want to go to that restaurant anymore.
Yeah.
But that was just like one piece of a 12-part step of like service where one person slipped and now the whole restaurant suffers. So those intricacies of like food and the customer experience and just all these things, man, I really learned firsthand because I was doing everything from start to finish. And I was failing a lot. And,
yeah. I'm curious, like, reflecting back, I mean, you don't have to like go through each of the 7 failures or the 7 attempts, but reflecting back at the early days when you were just getting started, and you started early, you were 19 years old. What was happening between the time you were 19 and say 2013 when you really started to get traction?
So I was like, I don't know how to say this, but like, I guess I was always pretty, like, from the outside looking in, I was always out of my mind, but like, I was just a really big dreamer. You know, I always had like really big dreams. I always thought I could do it, but there was like a couple parts of my game that I was missing. And when I look back at the times I failed, a lot of the times it was because I partnered. Like, my friend was my chef, and like we would try to do it, but he wasn't cut out to be a businessman.
Yeah.
Like, the ups and downs are just too stressful for people. And I had failed, dude, and I was going back and forth. I was like a club promoter. I was bartending. I was doing security, and but all the while, man, I was always close to like successful entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that failed. I find that I learned a lot from a lot of the people who failed more. It was nice to be around winners, but damn, when you see somebody lose, it's almost like a traumatic event, you know, like when you see somebody fucking, like my buddy, I'll never forget when I was like 19, my buddy lost his pizzeria. I mean, that was horrible, traumatic, just to see, like, when businesses, like, especially now with like COVID-19, like, I don't know, like, there's so many people who are scared to death of COVID-19, and it is scary, and COVID is horrible. People are dying.
Yeah.
But like, I put like, and this is fucking crazy, but when like someone loses their restaurant, that's like fucking dying to me. Like, to me and my passion and like how much I love food and knowing what I know, like what goes into a restaurant, like, all right, yeah, some people fucking died. Legitimately, they died. But like, man, it's like, it's fucking, when people lose their business, man. And the thing is, so when you lose your business, right? When you're refinancing your home, when you're fucking pulling money out of every, you're doing everything in your power to stay in business, and then you don't make it. It's just like, dude, you lost your life. You're fucking in debt now. You can never get out of that hole.
I don't think people realize that the people who do make it in this industry, a lot of them have, you know, dedicated their entire lives to starting small and slowly scaling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger until they finally have this thing that's worth something. You have to your heart has to go out to those people who have spent years, if not tens of years,
Yes.
building something and to lose it overnight. It's hard.
Yeah, that's
to
why
not.
when people talk to me about business and they're like, "Oh man, COVID must be great for you," I'm like, "Dude, are you fucking serious, man?" Like, unfortunately,
I was curious. Yeah.
COVID. Look, people are ordering, right? Eat Clean Bro has always done really well. People always love the food. I'm a lunatic to just like keep people happy, exceed expectations, like constantly improve, try to keep it interesting, find new ways to better service people and just keep people's lives easier. But man, it is so uncomfortable when people want to talk like positive about COVID when there's so many. There's the restaurant industry is just being massacred, and it's sad, man. Like I actually scooped up a couple new chefs. I'm overstaffed. I don't need them, but I look at some of these people like damn, like these are like famous baseball players to me.
Yeah.
You know, like when someone's a talented chef and they're out of work, I'm like, oh geez, dude, just fucking, we'll find something for you to do. Like, find a way to pay.
Well, I mean, I think that if you're in the position to do that right now, there's so much just human assets out there, just people that by no, fault of their own are without work, and you're scaling. I feel like now is the perfect time while people are out there looking for opportunity.
Yeah.
Like if you can scoop these dudes up and these gals up and give them opportunity, then why not? And I think that's smart, even though you don't need it right now. Like who knows 6 months from now,
right,
who's going to be left after, like, because there is going to be a ton of opportunity after this. I think that is the silver lining. I think there's a lot that needs to change with our industry, and I think hopefully that we look at this as an opportunity to do things better when we all kind of hit the ground running again. But back to your story with some of these failures, you mentioned early on that you had a business partner, and a lot of your challenges were with finding the right partner. What advice do you have when it comes to finding the right partner? And eventually you got a great partner who's now your wife, but we'll save that for later.
I'm against partners. I don't think it works.
Okay.
I think if you could do it without a partner, do it.
Isn't your wife a partner?
She is my wife, and we met back in 2014. So I am the owner of Eat Clean Bro. She came along and helped me, and she is like technically, like, I don't know what the technicality is, but she came along and she really fucking helped me a lot. She put me first. She put Eat Clean Bro first, and she really went for it with me.
She's the CEO of Eat. Did I see that right? Or at one point? Yeah. So, I mean, this is something that comes up a lot on the show. I think it's funny because it's whenever I hear that you can't do it without a partner, and that comes from somebody, they're usually married to the person that they're in business with, and they say that they couldn't do it without their significant other. I'm like, well, isn't that a partnership? Like, how is that not a partnership?
When like you're married to somebody, like, it's just different, man. Like, if
I'll take your word for it, because I don't know.
Like, put it this way, my wife. So like, what makes it easy, right? Is like, I think a lot of it comes down to like money. So in the beginning of Eat Clean Bro, like the real Eat Clean Bro, there was positions where I had bought somebody out of an equity stake. There was and I was taking a lot of risk.
It's 2013.
Yeah, the risk. The reason why I don't think it works with partners is because there was a lot of years where I had to sacrifice my income to make sure that the company had what it needed. So me and Kayla were together, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and she, from day one, she was down to like sacrifice. And I feel like when you start to own a multi-million-dollar business, most people want to go out and buy the fucking Range Rover. That's the first thing they want to do. They want to get some crazy fucking car. And that's like the fucking dumbest thing you can do when you start making money, is buy that fucking car.
So what is the right thing? We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I would like to know like what your strategy was when that money did start to come.
So my whole thing was always like better people, right? Your people make your business. So like, as important as I am or my wife is, like, at this point, dude, there's so many good people here that like, obviously like we matter, but there's just, it has always been invest in management, talent, equipment, technology.
Yeah,
Those
man.
are like the 4 things that
Yeah.
are like critical
Yep.
and evolving.
I can 100% get behind that. I always say 2 things determine your growth: cash flow and people, right?
Yep.
And those are the 2 things, because you need cash flow for the people, right? It really
Yeah.
is what it comes down to. And you're only as good as the people that you attract onto yourself. So I 100% get behind that. Back to your earlier lessons, when you were the first 7 attempts, like if you could like distill some of the biggest lessons you learned trying to get this thing off the ground, the failures you did have, and you said that you had a lot of failures, but you kept showing up, and I love that. Like, what were some of the things that you could prevent other people from making from your own experiences that you know are likely to happen?
So like I was always brought back into this because like I truly love it, man. Like cooking for my friends, I would do it for free. And if you add up all the years I did this shit and made no money, like I did do it for free.
Yeah.
I did it for free, and I got a hell of an education on the street just from a lot of human interactions. And it was a lot of like social interactions and just behaviors and just learning people, learning my customer firsthand, learning my industry firsthand, learning my product firsthand. Like, because we are like a technology business and I have no idea what the fuck goes on with this technology, man. Like I really don't.
But that's the best part about recognizing that you need other people.
Correct.
Because you can lean on them.
But I'll tell you this, when it comes to like fucking prepared food, like there's nobody who knows what I know about this. I've been doing it for so long. I used to cook all the food for myself. I used to cook for my friends. Like there's, when Aaron Franklin, right? When that guy talks about his fucking brisket, he fucking made brisket for his friends. And he was like, dude, when I hear his story, I fucking hear my story. Because I'm like, dude, I was doing the same shit, but it was fucking grilled chicken, broccoli, brown rice, sweet potatoes, steaks. Like, I was just on a propane fucking grill, and, he's on a smoker. So there's just something about that like
I think it's the organicness of it. Like,
yes,
like
dude,
just
like the roots, man.
And you were doing it because for the right reasons, because you knew you were helping people.
Yes.
Right. And you found a pain point. People were trying to eat healthier. They were trying to look as good as you looked.
Well, so let me explain what happened. So when I started, I guess like my first and only real job was at New York Sports Club. And I just hated the way they treated me. Like
How did they treat you?
Like a fucking piece of meat, dude. Like it was but I was 19. I was never cut out for the corporate world. Like corporate America was just never meant for me. I became a personal trainer because I wanted to help people. That's all. That's all I wanted to do was help people. And I just didn't feel right that I had to charge the client $100 an hour, and like I made 22. I felt like, damn, this is like a disproportionate rip. The client is getting murdered. I shouldn't be charging anybody $100 an hour to train them. I mean, I didn't think look, I don't want to take away from personal trainers who are legitimately qualified to charge that amount.
Yeah.
There are people that deserve that money, but I was 19 years old. I had taken their corporate training class. I didn't feel like I deserved that. I didn't feel like the transaction was like holy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like morally wrong. And when I started cooking these meals, and I knew like I'm going to the store, I'm buying this meat, I'm buying all this stuff. This is stuff I would feed my mother and my grandmother, and I'm making an honest living. And it was like the honest living that like, I was like, wow, like, man, I could do this. I could feel good about it. I can go to bed at night knowing that I'm legitimately going to bat for people every single day, and I'm taking a couple fucking percent. Like, I'm not making much. Like, I don't think anybody, when people know how much money I make, like, it's a lot. I do make a very good living right now, but my company is fucking enormous.
But how long?
It's
did
a
it take
sliver.
you to get
Oh my
there?
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how much did you sacrifice?
Oh fuck, man.
It's like
a
people
lot.
can be like, oh, this, like bro, eat clean thing, like just came out of nowhere, an overnight success. But what about you were 19 years old when you first made an attempt at getting after this, right? You're 34 now,
Yeah.
15 years. And before that, I mean, you said it was 2013, right?
And to get more, like, the 15-year thing is not meant to discourage anybody. Like, one of the things that I learned from my dad, my dad's like a super direct guy. My dad calls it how he sees it. And like over the years, I could see how that could get people in trouble being that way. there are like people I know, people I'm friends with, people in my family where, you know, you start having these conversations as like a man having a conversation with another man, like a young man, say like a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old. You know, I'm 34. I have a couple years on the guy. Mm-hmm. They get like overwhelmingly discouraged. Like, fuck, 15 years. Well, listen, man, unless you fucking die, 15 years is going to pass regardless.
Real fast.
Like, unless you die. So if you don't die, 15 years is coming whether you want it to or not. And you got to just embrace it. And that is the part like that. Had I just been able to embrace it a little bit, I was trying to hit home runs before I could run, you know?
Right.
I was trying to hit home runs before I could crawl. And I think that's why I failed a lot. And it wasn't until I really realized, like, man, this is going to fucking suck.
When did you start to realize that?
In 2000, like January, I started to realize that like the fucking party was over. I'll never forget, man. So there's a community college here in Jersey called Brookdale, and
what's the year?
I think it was 2000. I had just turned. I was like 25 and a half, I think.
Okay.
It was
so 10 years ago, or 9 years ago.
Yeah, and I never forget, like
2009.
It was kind of like when around 25 was like, holy fuck, dude, I'm not a kid anymore.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a game. Ironically, like, I went after it one more time and I failed. And then that was the point where I said, I'm not a kid anymore. And I gave up because I was like, dude, I don't have the tools I need. And I went looking for a real job. I got rejected by a bunch of places.
What were the tools you think you needed?
So here's the thing, man. And it's funny you say that, but like in reality, there's a couple tools you need. So like the fundamental tool, obviously. So there are tools, right? There's tools, there's principles, you need to believe you could do it.
You saying you didn't believe at this point?
I had my doubts, man. I'd failed so many fucking times, you know, like.
Well, give me an example. You said you were taking big swings. You were swinging for the fences, right? Like what give me
like a stupid fucking thing I did when I was a kid was somebody like I had a rich friend when I was a club promoter. He used to go out and buy bottles all the time. He saw me like cooking these meals and he was like, man, I want to invest. So I was like, holy shit, like this rich dude just approached me. He wants to invest. He must be real. He must be serious. So I'm like, all right, man. I dropped out of college. I was at Montclair State University. I dropped out. I went looking for, started looking to sign this lease for a kitchen, like almost got myself in a deep shit. And then like the dude just like ghosted me. And then I finally got him on the phone.
Meaning almost got into deep shit, meaning you almost signed? Like you almost committed to
something?
something?
I almost like committed to like owning my own, like I had no business doing that, man.
Yeah.
This is what I should have fucking did.
This is before the time.
This was like 2000.
So you said when you were 25, you took one final go at it and you failed again. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about before that. I do want to get into that.
It's hard to, dude. You know what, man? It's like hard for me to remember all this shit because
it's a blur. I'm sure
it is a blur, and it was so painful for me, dude. Like I didn't want to. I'll never forget, dude. The best day of my life, aside from like obviously my kids being born and my wedding, was when I realized like, wow, you know, all my failures and everything I went through got me to this point. And at that point, when I made peace with all my failures, I wasn't humiliated by it anymore. And then I didn't feel like I was actually a failure anymore. Like I spent so much of my life depressed, feeling like I was a fucking failure, that like I'm like cool now. I'm like, dude, you know what? Like that was what I had to go through to get here. That's what prepared me to be here. And that's why I am who I am, because of all those experiences I had leading up to this point. Like there's it was a big learning experience.
Would you agree that with every failure you get a little bit better?
Yes.
So can you give me an example of some of the ways you were getting better, some of the lessons you were learning, and and how you were applying these new lessons from your failure each and every new time?
I think like each step of the way, I just became more and more self-aware of like what my weaknesses were.
What were your biggest weaknesses that you identified early on?
Organization.
Yep. I'm right there with you for the record. Organization is not my strong suit. I'm great at like 30,000 feet, but in the details, I'm not that great. So but I think it's important. I think we're afraid to say what our weaknesses are, but I think
I'm not.
But it's important to know what your weaknesses are, because how else are you going to compensate? How else are you going to correct?
Sure.
So organization, like, how did you start living differently to compensate for your weakness?
I started back before I met Kayla. I was just like, there's like this viral video going around with this Navy SEAL captain talking about make your bed in the morning. That shit's real, dude. Like, you should make your fucking bed.
Why?
Just because. Like, you should just get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
If you're some fucking slob who never makes your bed, make your fucking bed. If you're some slob who doesn't fucking shave, shave your fucking face. Like, start being presentable. Start training your fucking personality to change and adapt. But depending on where you are. See, like, I'm in a much different point in life where I have a million fucking employees. I have an assistant. I have like a million fucking people around me helping me just do whatever the fuck I want now. So now I could do whatever I want. But before, I didn't have those people. I had to clean up my behavior.
You had to make your bed.
I had to make my bed. I had to like clean up my behavior. I had to clean up my personality weaknesses. I've read a lot of books, man. Fuck.
Well, let's unpackage some of this shit, because I mean, I think I watched that video. I think the lesson is from that video is that, something as small as making your bed every day, if you start your day with becoming like organized and clean, and like you have that high standard from the first thing you do every morning, that habit is going to spill over to other things in your life. And I think that's kind of like one of the morals of the story. It's been a while since I looked into that, but I think that's what I took from the story. So what were some of the new habits that formed in your life with each and every, or just give me one habit that you really think started changing the way you showed up every day?
Just I would always make sure that my car was clean. Just
and how did that start to spill over into your business?
So like, as a kid, you're always told don't care what people think of you, right? And that's like really important. It's really important that you don't care. But then when you start having employees and shit, like, you really got to start to fucking care. Because like, you got to send a fucking message to these people, and I think I've done a really good job because I am genuine and I am here for the right reasons. But like, you got to set a good leadership example. People want to go to work for somebody they believe in. If like you're some fucking sloppy slob of a mess, disorganized, like you don't keep your word, you got to remember when you're dealing with people, man, you got to keep your fucking promises with people. So
I love it, man.
Just like today when I almost got out of this one, but then I was like, you know what? I said we would do it. Let's do it.
So you drove up from Atlanta yesterday, right?
I flew. We had to bring my 10-month-old daughter. It was really cute. But we flew in the morning. We did whatever paperwork I had to do to get my townhouse, and then we flew back. It was but I co-sleep. I mean, you don't have kids, but like my son sleeps in our bed, and it's hard, dude.
Yeah.
Because he kicks me all night. He gets up early as fuck.
So basically, Jamie emailed me while I was driving from New Hampshire to New Jersey, asking if we could reschedule for next week. And I was like, I mean, I could make the trip back down here again, but
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that too.
So when he realized I was driving down here from New Hampshire, he was like, "Oh, absolutely! Like, let's make it happen." So it's integrity, man. It's like, you said you were exhausted, that you wanted to be your best for the interview,
right? And
I respected that, but at the same time, like, you knew that I was down here from New Hampshire, so you made it work. And I think that integrity just goes so far. And what I'm picking up from you from your earlier days, just listening to your story, it sounds like you're like me in the sense that you're a dreamer. Like, you can vision, you know what's possible, and you can see that shit as clear as day. But you're not necessarily like Simon Sinek would say, you're good in you're a why guy, not a how guy. You know? And Gary Vaynerchuk would say you're good in the clouds, you're horrible in the dirt. Meaning, like, you can see it, but you're not the best at necessarily building it, right?
Yeah.
Details.
I always say, like, I'm terrible at explaining things, but I think part of the reason probably why I failed all those times when I was younger was because I like, when people ask me, they're like, "Oh man, did you ever think it would be this big?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, I fucking did. Like, when I was like fucking 19 years old and I was being crazy, like, That's what I thought, but obviously at 19 there was no way I was capable of handling the stress of a fucking multi-million dollar business. Like you have to be mentally prepared for this type of responsibility.
So when you're talking to people about your vision, about what Eat Clean Bro could do, what was your energy like? How would you explain this to people?
I was always really good at like getting customers and selling the food. People liked me. They always would try it. But like in the beginning, it was all about like bodybuilding and being shredded. And it wasn't until like I evolved as a person and learned like, hey, like, you know, we could still make food. We could still make healthy, great food. It doesn't have to be like competition bodybuilder food, you know, because bodybuilders eat a certain way and then
they're thinking about the amount of ounces, not necessarily the ingredient.
The thing is with bodybuilding, man, it's a very calculated lifestyle. And then once a few weeks out from your bodybuilding show, dude, you're cutting out everything. It's not necessarily healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to get you shredded, but I don't think any bodybuilder will say like that's a healthy way to live.
You feel good?
No, you feel like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You fucking look great, but
is it worth it?
I mean, I'm glad to say I did it a couple times, but yeah, man. So I evolved as a person and just evolved the menu. Got everything. People fucking liked it, man. So
you said when you were 25 years old, it was the attempt you made before this recent attempt that has gotten to where you are now. Take us through that last attempt, and you said you failed one more time. Like, take us through that failure and what happened.
So like for me to be honest here, and you're gonna get some untold story here.
That's what it's
you're
about,
gonna get.
Man.
So, at 25 years old, I realized like I wasn't a kid anymore. I needed to get my act together, right? So I used to have an Adderall addiction.
I can understand that, man.
All right, and I would take Adderall every fucking day. And like Adderall gets you a little high, man. You feel fucking great. You feel unstoppable.
Yeah, you do. And I can relate because I was on Adderall all throughout high school and college. And I was a commercial pilot. And I was taking Adderall illegally because I felt like I couldn't do it without it. Yeah. You know, you get to the point where you feel like it's a part of who you are and that you're useless without it.
Yeah.
So I totally know what you're saying.
So one day, I'm like high as a kite on Adderall, feeling like the man. And I'm like, whoa, like, dude, you're not the man. You're a fucking loser. And you need to get your shit together. You're not a fucking kid anymore. And I'll never forget that, dude. I was like, holy fuck. Like, the only reason I feel good about myself right now is because of this fucking pill I'm taking.
How did the pill make you feel? You said unstoppable.
Yeah, dude. You're fucking high.
Yeah.
Like, it's
methamphetamine.
It's an amphetamine, bro. Like,
you're on meth.
You're fucking high as fuck. Yeah. You're feeling great.
And we're handing this shit out to little kids all over the fucking country.
Oh my God, bro. Yeah, dude, don't like.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that. But
we don't have to go down that path. But
so I fucking quit cold turkey, dude.
Okay.
Threw out all my shit, flushed it down the toilet.
Were you prescribed this stuff? Or
nah, off the street, baby.
Yeah.
And
it's not hard to come by.
Everybody has it.
Everyone's the drug dealers are out there, the doctors and the pharmacists, you know, like are making it super attainable. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was easy. Yeah, I had tons of people I could get it from. So I stopped cold turkey, and dude, that was like, holy fuck, man, that was so hard to just cut it out. I don't know how you stopped or if you did stop.
I was a commercial pilot, and I was getting to the point where if I, for whatever reason, got in an accident or whatever, and I had a piss test, they would see it in my blood and my career would be over. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was more of a fear of what happens if I get caught with this. The fear of what would happen if I didn't have it started to be less significant than the fear that I had if I did have it. So basically, after 4 years of college, and while I'm investing in my career to be a commercial, like I'm getting jobs as a commercial pilot, like now I have, you know, the assets building, my experience is building. Mm-hmm. I'm becoming more valuable, and I could lose all of that if I got caught. So that's why I had to stop. But even when I resigned from aviation, I got my hands back on Adderall to get this podcast started.
Yeah. But then you realize, like, fuck, man, this isn't good, right?
Honestly, yeah. I started to realize that I was a different person when I was in Adderall.
Yeah.
I was very edgy. Anything would piss me off, because
and then you couldn't let it go, right? You'd be so focused on what pissed you off, and you're just like,
yeah. And it's like you just get so fixated. One of my challenges is focus, right?
Yeah.
But like that thing would make you so focused, and that you'd be so about that thing that if it didn't go according to plan, if things weren't where, if you made a little mistake and anything could set you off, I was always on edge, you know, and I liked being like the happy-go-lucky,
right,
jovial person, and that made me opposite. So that's what I didn't like about it. And if I'm being completely honest, when I tried to go back to get it, because I want to,
it made you sick, right? You got hot, you didn't get sick.
Straight up, man, straight complete honesty. So at one point, when I later in my adulthood, like I wanted to get back on Adderall because I felt like I needed it again. And at the time, I started smoking a lot more weed because I was basically allowed to because I wasn't a commercial pilot anymore. If I'm being completely honest, and it was because that was in my system that they wouldn't prescribe Adderall to me because of the multiple, or the upper downer. So like that was the reason why
they tested you for weed before they gave you Adderall.
Well, it was, I think, a drug test that they just do randomly, starting, and maybe it's just in New Hampshire. I don't know.
Wow.
But I was like, whatever. I was like,
wow, finally a doctor who's looking out for his fucking patients.
Right? I mean, I wasn't like super bitter about it, but I think it was just kind of like one of those things where I was like, I'd rather be able to get high.
Yeah, I smoke. I do smoke. I do smoke here and there. Probably, dude. I bought an ounce of weed like 3 years ago. It's still like, I still probably have half of it left, but
I used to get so worried about the fact that I enjoy smoking weed. As for me, it's a decompressor. It's the thing I do at the end of the day.
Sure.
To be able to shut
That's
my
how
fucking
you should
mind
do
off.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to because if I don't, I'll just keep on going, and it's kind of a way for me to find balance and to relax, and to like kind of, I don't know, because I'm one of those people that's always going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So anyway, I just kind of think it helps me kind of shut off, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely, in my opinion, man, I'd rather puff on a J a couple times than drink. Just
I'm
the
right
recoveries.
There with you. I love how your coworkers are walking through like, oh, where's this conversation going?
I tell them, I say, I don't fucking drug test, dude, so I don't give a fuck what you do. Just don't do it driving.
Man, like, and I used to be like, where I was going with this interview is about you, but I'm trying to relate, you know?
Yeah.
But I think it was the fact that, I started seeing a lot of successful entrepreneurs that I knew smoked, because while I was on the road interviewing them, they would ask if I would want to get high with them, you know? So I'm like, wait a second. And I think growing up in the Northeast with parents that were like, if I ever found out if you smoked weed, like my heart would be broken. Like it would be the saddest thing. So like, it was always like this cloud hanging over me that I didn't want to disappoint people. But then I was like, wait a second, super successful people smoke weed. Is it any different than having a glass of wine, you know, or like celebrating in any other way? So, I mean, and plus spending some time on the West Coast kind of helped too. But this isn't a conversation about that, I guess.
It's look, I was really crazy, man. So like talking about Adderall, it was really fucking hard for me to quit cold turkey. It was like 30 days of just like, I felt like I was fucking buried alive trying to get out of that straitjacket. But eventually I got over that hump, and then my thoughts, just like you said, how you're just hyper like fixated on things. Like once that stopped, I felt like.
Did that have any effect? Sorry, I don't want to. I am interrupting, but I mean, I would imagine this would help you get shredded and ripped if your focus is being healthy. Whatever is on your mind, you're gonna accomplish on Adderall.
Well, Adderall, man, it was fucking great. It made your metabolism nice.
Yeah, your appetite was gone. But not to take you off your train of thought, you were doing good. I apologize.
But for me, like just spiritually and mentally, getting off that fucking drug was critical.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I needed to reset, and like I always say, like rock bottom was the solid foundation I've rebuilt my life on. And like quitting Adderall, I mean, it was like I had a huge personality change. A lot of things shifted. I mean, I got like fucking super depressed. Like my fucking brain was completely destroyed from like I mean, was it that terrible for you?
How many milligrams were you taking?
Not much.
But it was taking like 50 milligrams.
50 a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't even, I only did a little bit, but I don't know, man. It was.
I think it was 50 milligrams. Now you're making me wonder if that's way too high of a number.
No, it's not that. I've heard people take more. I know one of my friends takes 80 a day.
Jeez.
I'm like, what the fuck, man? Are you crazy?
It could have been 30. For some reason, 50 is just the number that pops into my head, but I don't know. That's going back some time now.
Maybe it was 40. Maybe he did 220s a day.
Maybe,
Who knows?
Who knows?
But for me, man, it was like I had to get myself set up. I had to just kind of, for me to get where I am today, I had to give up like everything. I had to give up negative people in my life. I had to give up the fucking, like, obviously the Adderall, kind of just like isolated myself, and tried to just put myself in like a positive environment and a positive state of mind, which isn't easy to do when you feel like you're a fucking failure.
So how did you do it? Because it sounds like you achieved that. You were able to kick the Adderall. You were able to kind of readjust.
It was a slow, horrible fucking, so like, I think I stopped taking Adderall at like 25. It was like a slow process. Once I got over that hump, then it was like, all right, need to fix my fucking credit. I need to get a job. Like, I have to stop bartending.
So you're 34 now.
34 now, yeah.
And you were 25, so it's going back 9 years ago.
It was a lot of work, dude.
2011, that around that time.
Being honest with myself, cleaning up the mess.
Yeah.
Realizing, like, this cannot continue.
Yeah, and I feel like I know where this making your bed analogy is coming. Like, you have to start with the foundation. You have to start with something. And then once you can start turning your life around, once you can start building up your credit, once you can start, all these little things, they compound. But you have to start somewhere.
And it's all in like your daily decisions, you know, like I'm a big believer, man. And like, just, it is crazy. Like, I'm not against drugs at all. Right? People do them. People go to college and do them. Like, drugs are very fucking bad. Like, I need people to realize that, like, drugs are fucking bad. If you're trying to be successful in life, stay the fuck away from drugs. Like, even if it's Adderall, even if it's Xanax, even if it's fucking Klonopin, like, whatever the fuck the doctors are giving you, like, you need your brain, like, not to get all like fucking religious, but like, dude, you need your brain the way God made it. Like, get yourself fucking healthy, drink fucking water, sleep. Like, we're talking about how I quit drinking coffee because like my sleep, like, your brain is like a receptor to, like, you're putting it out there, you know? And if your brain is fucked up under an influence, like, you're limiting the whatever the capacity your brain has to fucking function. So like, you want your brain is your fucking biggest asset you have. Mm-hmm. And like your mood and just all that shit. It's so important in business, man. And
so you started to get your brain right, your body right, your health right. And that started overflowing into the rest of your life. And I know in 2013, it sounds like your business is actually finally starting to get to a place, you know, now you're clean. So 2 years after you commit to, you know, trying to turn your life around.
I could have, like, look, I wasn't like, I didn't rob anybody. I never stole a TV to get Adderall. Like, I wouldn't say that, like, for me, it was a problem, you know? I don't think anybody fucking knew I was taking it. It wasn't like, you know, some people get addicted to drugs and like rob their mother and fucking do crazy shit. It was just a problem for me because I knew it was, I knew I needed to be fucking, I don't know, man, it's fucking weird. Like, I had to go into this shit like 100%.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't 100%, I knew it wasn't going to work. Mm-hmm. And it was, dude, at the time, I pretty much, like, I'm almost certain that, like, I pretty much gave up on, I think, like, around that time, I gave up on the idea of cooking. Because I've failed so many times. But
you didn't.
It was just something I loved doing, dude. I couldn't help it, you know?
Yeah.
It was like something I just love fucking doing. So
now it's 2011, 2012, about a year to 2 years before
13, yeah, January 13.
Which, man, it seems to be, when I do my research, 2013 seems to be the year.
That was the year, yeah.
Yeah. So what did you start doing differently? Paint that picture of your new lifestyle that led up to being able to become successful.
Well, I was fucking broke, so I wasn't doing much other than eating healthy and going to the gym and bartending. That's what I did. But
I think I read a story that you went on a date with your now wife, Kayla.
Yeah.
And at that time, tell us that story, that date.
That was That was like late February 2014. I was like 2 or 3 hours late
because you were busy.
Right. Yeah, I was working and
counting receipts. I think it was the story I read.
It was man. I was a one-man show. I was doing a lot of work.
Oh, I think you were cooking the first time you were late.
It was probably cooking. Yeah.
And the second time you guys hung out, she helped you at work. Was that what it was? She must have really liked you, man.
Yeah. It was really cool. So our first date was funny, man. I was 2.5 or 3 hours late. I show up. I gave her dad a meal.
Brownie points.
Yeah, I was like, hey, man, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And the whole date, I was kind of panicking because I had to take her to the second option. You know, the first option was across town. And because I was so late, I would have never made it there. So we got to the place. We got sushi. I ordered the wrong thing. It was all these like simple rolls. And I'm like, oh my God, like this shit is so lame.
I'm never going to see her again.
Fuck, like, yeah, it's a sushi boat, but these aren't specialty rolls. These are just regular rolls. And the date was going really good, and she didn't give a shit about the sushi like I did. So then I was like, hey, like, let's go to the movies. She's like, you know, you don't even know what the movie time is. And I was like, don't worry about it. We'll just go and we'll see a movie. So we went over there, and what's really funny, man, is it was like 9:50, and like the Lego movie started at 9:55. And at that time, dude, I had this kid who was selling bootleg DVDs, delivering for me. And then like he started to build this like bootleg DVD business around like me. So like all my customers were like, yo, man, like, yo, does Mark have the Lego movie? And like everybody kept asking about the fucking Lego movie. And and then he would come in, he'd be like, oh, I can't get the fucking Lego movie. And like, so like leading up to that and going to the movies, I was like, fuck yeah, Lego movie. And she was like, dude, this kid is like a lunatic. But like the Lego movie was actually good. And that was it, man. So I drove her home, and I think we like hung out, and like we were inseparable ever since. And that was always like such a funny story to me, man, because had it not been for that guy selling those bootleg DVDs, dude, I would have never known what movie to go to. And just a disclaimer, the last bootleg DVD I watched was like The Equalizer with fucking Denzel.
Yeah.
And dude, the smart TVs now, they recognize the audio. They shut your fucking shit off. So like you can't even bootleg shit anymore. And but also as like time went on and I started actually making a living, I just buy my Apple TV's loaded.
We can afford the DVD.
I'm too blessed to be fucking with bootleg shit now. But
you got Hulu, I bet.
Yeah, I got all of them.
Yeah.
Bootleg, fucking Hulu, Apple
bootleg
TV
with Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So
tell me that's not fucking funny though, bro.
Dude, that's awesome. I love
Jersey
it.
as fuck, man.
I love
kid was fucking flipping bootleg DVDs. I'm like,
but
oh my God.
And I've been researching a lot of restaurant owners, it's safe to say, up to this point. And I feel like I personally do believe in partnerships. I believe that you can't make it today without a partner. If you really want to be the top of your game.
Well, there's differences. There's difference between like partners and alliances. There's tons of people around me that I can't make it without. But if I had a bunch of partners here and that didn't see my vision, you know, when you have to drop fucking when you have to spend $500,000 on a website, you know, I know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I go and I fucking do it.
Yeah.
But if I had to explain that to like 2 or 3 people who wanted a Range Rover, they might say, oh man, like we want the distribution.
Thing, your relationship with the person that's building you the website is a partnership, right? Because you know that you can't be the person to build out your own website, but you can hire somebody, and that's a relationship. That's a partnership. You're coming together the partner on a website for your business.
They're partnering on a project. So like here's the thing with like a real partnership is like the reason why they're dangerous is just because of like the legal stuff. Like,
yeah.
You have freedom to choose who you want to build your website or do those things. And everything is so like I think you're confusing self-made. Like, are people self-made is like the question. The answer is like to like what extent do you want to drill into that? Because like, yeah, could I have done all of this by myself? Like, no. There was a lot of fucking people who helped me.
Yep.
There was tons of people who helped me.
And you take care of those people.
Of course.
But up.
If all of these people had equity in my company and they could start like putting fucking, you know, who knows, putting me in litigation, tying up my ability to get money from the bank, or just making a mess out of my business internally, then like, no, man, partners are fucking bad, because shit could go south. And then, you know, there's a lot of people, there's a saying that says like some people sink the whole ship because they can't be captain.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, and I'm not saying that I mean, obviously your wife now is a CEO, right, of Eat Clean Bro. So yes. I feel like it's safe to say that she compliments you some way, somehow. And if I had to take a guess, I would say she's a detail-oriented person.
Yes.
And I feel like if you know that you're not a detail-oriented person, if you know that you are a visionary and you can see the big picture, and your thing's recruiting people and sharing the dream and motivating people, you better damn well make sure you have somebody on your team who's good in the dirt.
Yep.
Right? And it seems like Kayla's really good in the dirt. And when you guys came together, it allowed you to focus on what you were truly good at.
Yeah.
The food, the vision.
Fuck yeah, man. The food, the relationships.
And I'm making assumptions here, but I'm feeling like that, like taking on the partner. She's not your wife, so the financial, like, you know, what's yours is hers and what's hers is yours, which I feel like is kind of is the solution to the partnership for you, because now you guys are one, right?
Yeah.
So you don't see it as a partnership; you just see it as a togetherness. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like. Man, I don't
putting you through the ringer right now.
No, dude, Kayla. So the thing is, like, Kayla wanted to be a police officer, and being a police officer is a fucking serious job.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do it.
Like, bro, I didn't want, like, I said, look, if I'm gonna have a fucking kid, if we're gonna have kids, like, I don't want the mother of my children out patrolling the fucking streets. Like, that is gotta be the last fucking option. Like, if that is even an option.
Yeah.
I said, come work with me, you know? Well, you know, we were inseparable. We loved being together. So it was always cool. And she just always, like, did what, she always helped me get shit done. She always listened. And she just always helped me, like, execute my vision. And when I look at us as, like, partners, like, she is, you know, like, yeah, man, she's my wife. So, but she's always followed my lead, and she's always done what's needed to be done to be successful. Like, she's always, like, carried out those orders. If I had somebody in my way stopping me from making decisions, man, it would be a fucking nightmare here.
And I think that's the beauty of the relationship.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of being a leader and a visionary, is that you start with the end in mind. You know where you're going, and you're taking people with you.
Yeah.
People who are good in the dirt. People who are good at building websites. People, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you create those partnerships. So what were the, like, in, for anybody, obviously this isn't a restaurant we're talking about. It's a food business. It's a delivery business.
I try to be like a restaurant, though. I try to keep that restaurant quality.
Yeah. So reflecting back over I would say the past 7 years, when you guys really started to, like, you know, grow exponentially, what were some of the biggest lessons you've learned from, like, a business owner? If somebody else is looking to start, like, a food delivery company out there, what advice do you have for them?
I always tell people this, man. Just start cooking for your fucking friends.
Yeah, it's true, man.
Make friends. Like, I tell people all the time, like, did you make any friends? Like, are you making friends? Like, make friends. Like, that's all I say. Like, it all depends on, like, what your level's at. Like, where I came from and where I'm at today, it's a fucking miracle. But to a dude like Elon Musk, I'm still just a fucking turd, you know? Like, to Elon, I'm a turd. I'm probably a fucking loser. I'm a loser compared to that guy. But, you know, where I came from to where I'm at now, like, I'm a success story. I think it all depends. One of the things that I really can't stand is so many people got into prepared meals because they thought it was going to be like a financial opportunity.
Was this before COVID or after COVID you talking about?
You know what, man? I think COVID actually has stopped a lot of businesses from starting, just because, like, it's really hard to get in front of people.
Yeah.
So, like, what's dangerous right now, so, like, I'm going to go off topic a little bit, and you could bring me back when I get too far off topic, but one of the things that I'm noticing is it is, and I don't want to scare people, but I believe we are approaching the beginning of the end of like small businesses in America.
I'm afraid of that too, man. And that's part of, but finish your thought.
Essentially, back in the day, right, you could, the big box stores, like the bigger businesses, they were big boats. They couldn't steer. They couldn't move. They weren't agile. But now we're seeing companies like Amazon, Walmart, Target, the biggest fucking companies they are fucking more agile than like mom and pop shops. And that's coming down to like automated technology that mom and pop shops can't afford.
Yeah.
And because there was a time where like it was the human element where people would always go and contribute and make personal touches and just beat the big guy. It used to be easy to beat the big guy. Now it's like, fuck, dude, there's all these fucking metrics. And now I'm like, because I'm competing against some bigger companies myself. I've always had a small business mentality. That's always been attractive to me. I always wanted to give back to the community, treat my customers well, be true to my customers, be true to my employees. And it's just like, dude, what I'm up against today, and I'm fucking great at what I do. I'm fucking really great. Like, I'm the fucking best at what I do.
What is it exactly that you do?
Bro, these prepared meals, man, They're fucking great.
But I know they are. but what is it that, I mean, you make a great prepared meal.
I'll tell you what.
But you do so
great.
much more than that, I guess is what I'm getting at.
So like, here's the thing, man. I put a lot of, so it's a multi-dimensional question. As far as my customer service goes, my favorite part about my customer service is when you call the fucking phone number, a human picks up the phone within 1 or 2 rings.
Yeah.
So like, if you need anything, there's no directory. They'll press 4 if fucking, no. Hey, well, thank you for calling Clean Bro. This is Jamie. How can I help you? Which, like, dude, I don't know. Can you call any of these fucking companies and get a person first ring?
No, and it's getting to that point now where I hear like automation's the way, and it's all about the bottom line, and it's all about streamline, and it's all about
So with the customer service, there's a huge variety of communication methods that I feel like one of the most important things in business and in life is communication. You need to be able to communicate with people.
Yeah,
it's crazy how important it is, but it's like. So you asked me about like advice, communication, and training. Anytime I've ever felt like I was completely out of control in my life, it all came down to just communicating or training.
Okay.
Like either these people are not trained to do what I need them to do, or like there's a miscommunication along the line and like shit is wrong. So like those were the 2 big pieces. And like those are the ways like I've always been able to identify problems. Being able to identify problems is also a huge component of just business in general. Like being able to identify a problem, identify the solution, implement the solution, and get the fucking problem fixed, lay out processes so it never fucking happens again. These are things that are like super important. But back to why I think like small business in America is ultimately the beginning of the end is because bigger businesses have the money to put investment into technology, which is automating the customer experience. Customers are getting fucking conditioned to just like Amazon, right? The customer experience of Amazon is just fucking superior. But now like other companies are catching up. Amazon is probably the motherfucking pinnacle of like customer experience. I think eClean Bro is a pinnacle customer service experience, but in a different way where like you actually know these people and these people talk to you and people look out for you. The driver looks out for you. I always wanted to have like that old fashioned feel with like the milkman. I mean, we weren't around for that, but like there used to be a milkman who would drop off milk and neighborhood routes and shit. So like my delivery drivers are, as like we grew, I would always try to implement things that I did that they do for the customers to make them feel special. Text them, let them know you're on your way, send the picture. We were doing that fucking text picture like way before Amazon. Like I'm always trying to beat Amazon.
Yeah.
A lot of people start meal prep companies and they're trying to beat Jamie. Like, yo, get your eyes off me, man. I'm not shit. Try to beat Jeff Bezos. He's number 1. He's the guy to beat.
Yeah.
Even though like I'm not shit compared to Jeff Bezos. Like that's the guy I'm trying to learn from or trying to be like. But now companies are just, everything is just so crystal clear with all the metrics and shit that they can analyze. And I'm just afraid that big businesses are becoming more effective than small businesses. And there's all different types of things too. Like the road to hell was paved with good intentions, and not to get political, but like when you look at student loan debt, the student loan crisis, when you look at like medical care,
I'm $200,000 over $200,000 in debt still
So,
to this point, which is why I
right.
started the podcast.
Yes.
Like it's a real issue. I agree with that statement, but keep going.
So essentially, man, you got these like politicians, like you have like one, like they're either looking at the fucking super rich or the super poor. And like we need to come to the realization that like, yo, the super poor are going to be super poor and the super rich are going to be super rich. The people we really need to help are the fucking people in the middle. And you have these kids coming out of fucking college, buried up to their neck in student loan debt. They get a job and they have to get fucking medical care. So now you're taking their fucking pay. It's going towards medical insurance and motherfucking student loans.
Yeah.
How the fuck are these kids supposed to buy a house or survive, let alone like start a business with no money? I mean, the American dream in this country is slowly going away. I mean, what I did with $300 fucking dollars, dude, like I don't know if if I had to do that now, man, that would be fucking.
And the thing is, the system is pushing the kids into school. Like I don't know about you, but maybe it's not the same exact way, but when I was in high school, going back 2003, when I was graduating,
I graduated in 04.
It was no option. Like you went to college after high school, or you went into the military, and if you went to the military, it's because you couldn't handle college.
Yeah, and you come out and hit that GI Bill like a boss.
Yeah, right. And like that was my perception, you know. And it was all about like going to college. Like they were pushing kids into college who had no clue what they wanted to do in college. Yeah, and it was more about, in my opinion, the conversion rate.
Sure.
To see how many people or how many kids they can get into college, so they could say, "Hey, look at our conversion rates."
Yeah, the worst. And, the most expensive mistake you can make in life is going to college to just see what's up. Like,
yeah.
Don't do that.
So, I mean, I guess there's a couple things. I think you highlighted a lot of your strengths in that. Like, there are satellite little points that you made. Your strengths that you had, obviously communication, training, and being able to see a problem, solve the problem, and create systems around the problems. So every time that there's a new problem, you're creating system. You're not becoming people dependent, you're becoming system dependent.
Right.
Some of the little things I pulled out, but I think that I want to talk more about the solution to the end of small business. But is there anything to unpackage as far as, those like little details that I picked up on as far as what got you to where you are today?
I think I just had some really incredible experiences through life.
Yeah. I'm curious about this communication element. Because it seems like you feel like one of your strongest assets is your ability to communicate.
Actually, it's not.
Okay.
That's why it's it's really not. You know what, dude? There's sometimes I think like, man, what the fuck am I even good at? I must be good at something, right? I'm really fucking passionate about the food and doing right by. I fight like every single fucking day. I'm like, yo, how can we give our customers more? How can we give our employees more? And those are like two things that I guess I don't know if like,
is it just doing what's right by your people, taking care of your people?
All the fucking time. Yeah, every time.
I think that's part of the human need to be valued, to be appreciated, to be seen, and to be like, oh, like this person's bringing value into my life. I value this person. I am hungry for that shit myself.
Yeah.
Do you think that is that?
That's definitely helped me. I think.
Yeah.
I give back to the, try to give back to, but yeah, man, back to the solution for small business.
Yeah, let's get into it.
My 2 cents is you need to really appreciate the business that you have. You need to really appreciate your customers. I was on Facebook the other day and one of my fucking friends on Facebook was like, I fucking hate people. Like the customer's not always right. Like it sucks to be a contractor. And here I'm thinking like, dude, you think being a contractor is bad? Like try working with food, man.
Right.
Like you're just like, I think, geez, I don't even know where to start because I see where it's going.
I have some thoughts on that. And part of my mission when I first started this podcast was to, transform the industry. And one of the ways I think we're going to transform the industry, and when I say transform the industry, I exactly what you're talking about building back the middle class. by like if we're going to compete with the big dogs out there, we need to look at each other as comrades, as colleagues, and lift each other up. I think we need to share information, and I think we need to also. I think it comes down to values and understanding human behavior and realizing what we need is each other, relationships.
Yeah.
And educating people on that. Hey, like you might be able to save 50 cents at Amazon, but like you choosing to spend an extra 50 cents is going to support your community.
Yeah.
And you need people.
I look at it like this, man, because I always said that people would slit my throat to save 50 cents. So I'm like, how the fuck do we get this shit 50 cents less than Amazon?
Right.
You know?
Or how can you communicate that
tell a story,
it's 50 cents more for these reasons?
Yeah.
And how do you make people feel better about their decisions and make it about the decisions? And I think, I don't think we understand human nature enough. And I think that that's the future, is understanding not to focus on the bottom line, but to focus on happiness. And oh shit, when we think about treating ourselves better, treating the earth better, treating our communities better, and the whole enlightened hospitality approach to life,
yeah,
you end up feeling better. If you want to be happy, then be a fucking human.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the things I'm like passionate about, so like obviously there's a with like shit before. I mean, like, dude, there was some shit that hit the fan with George Floyd, right? Like, there was really like a lot of civil unrest, and I've always been like heavily involved in the community, especially like trying to help like black entrepreneurship. And I finally invested into my buddy, Jamaican dude. We're doing hydroponic farming for like microgreens and shit. And so like as entrepreneurs, like, and not to get like political, because it doesn't matter if you're fucking Republican or Democrat or wherever the fuck you are. Entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, need to fucking be the example in the community. That's why like I'm really excited. I don't know much about Elon Musk, but I feel like he's gonna be one of the fucking dudes, like Gary V, Elon Musk. Like these motherfuckers gotta like get rid of this like baby boomer mentality of just like more. Because like this fucking mess that we're in. Like, it's bro, you're 200,000 in fucking student loan debt. Like, that's a fucking big problem of a fucking mess.
Yeah.
And like the people who are in a position to help, like, dude, we need to fucking help. Like, we need, look, there's nothing like, and there's like this fucking stigma about like, oh, it's evil to be rich. It's not evil to be rich. What's fucking evil is like when you're fucking rich and you don't help anybody else.
But that's like, the whole point of being rich, I think, is like, the people who figured it out in this industry. It's about creating opportunity for others.
Right. Yes. And looking out for people and make it fucking cool. Like, yo, the little bit I know about Elon Musk, like as an entrepreneur, you look up to other entrepreneurs. And when I found out Steve Jobs like abandoned his fucking daughter, I was like, yo, fuck that guy. I don't care how successful he is. I don't care what he's done for the world. Like, that dude is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Straight up. Fuck Steve Jobs.
You said it quickly, and I think it's the key, is make it fucking cool.
Yeah. Yes. That's what has to happen.
And that's real. I think you're right. And I think that it's if we educate the general public and we make buying food from your farmer really fucking cool, or even as far as, going to a local cobbler or seamstress to get your clothes. Oh, who are you wearing?
Yeah.
Johnny from down the street. That's cool.
That is cool.
If we make it fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about psychographics. It's about what does this thing that I'm doing say about me? How is the public going to view me by doing these things?
Yes.
Because we give a fuck what people think about us, whether we want to admit it or not.
Yeah, but unfortunately what's happening with the media is like they've made it like they're painting this picture that like being rich is evil, or like you should be taxed some undisproportionate amount of money. Like I do believe there is a way for fucking society to thrive and like give back and like help people and create opportunities. So like there's people who are fucking against capitalism, right? And I think that's a little fucking crazy, because the problem with humanity is just fucking greed. Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
And when you look at people in power, like capitalists who are in power, they're greedy, right? People can be greedy, but Look at all these politicians who are in office for 50 years just fucking off. They're greedy too.
Yeah.
What's worse?
They're like, some people are greedy with trying to get more money. I feel like other people are greedy with trying to just climb the social status.
We need to you can't fucking tax people out of being greedy, right? Like this answer, like, oh, just tax the rich. Like, we can't just think like more tax or whatever the fuck dude. The fucking news is insane, but we got to stop. People got to be more conscious of like, look, hey man, I have a net worth of fucking 10 million or whatever the fuck, or I make $2 million a year. Let me invest in somebody. Fucking like, dude, people should be fucking looking for people to invest in.
I don't think being rich is an issue as long as if you're using your assets to build up other people around you. And the thing is, when you help other people win, the natural byproduct is you win too. And I think that people that get rich by going by that method of building up those around them and making a bunch of other people wealthy in the process of creating your own wealth, I think that's the goal, is to bring people with you and to spread it out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the key to this industry is opening a restaurant, or in your case, food delivery, and providing value and creating opportunity for those in the process, and looking at somebody who you mentored and brought up, knowing that they have the ability to go on and do it on their own, and saying, well, I could just help you get there and invest in you, and now you're making this person's dream come true, and you just developed a new asset for yourself, the relationship and the monetary assets, I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but
sure.
Dude, yeah. I'm loving this conversation. Is there anything, I guess time always goes by so fast. We're already an hour and 14 minutes into this thing. I did want to talk a little bit about Rob Giuliani.
Oh yeah.
Because he said that you were a huge mentor to him and you really helped him. So I'm curious, how have you helped him, and how have you helped other people? Give me an example of what you're doing to help other businesses in your community.
Well, there was, so I think Rob Giuliani's a big fan of mine, because there was this guy who lived upstairs from this building we rented, and he was always like this loud mouth Brooklyn guy, wanted to fight everybody, and he was just fucking yelling, trying to fight Rob, always getting in Rob's face, trying to fight him. And one day, it was 4th of July weekend, and one day, man, he's all drunk, he's getting loud with my father-in-law. He's getting loud with my mother-in-law, and then he got loud with my wife, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, this motherfucker just crossed, he just crossed every line. So I ended up knocking him out. I hit him. I fucking missed with the haymaker, and I came back with the elbow, fucking cracked him in the side of the head, knocked him out, got away.
You got away, or he got away?
No, he was unconscious. I got away, and everybody was so happy because he was like the town asshole. And I guess like that summer I was a fucking legend because I like fucking knocked out the town asshole. But this is New Jersey, by the way. All right, I know if you got like listeners all over the country,
no
like
one's
shit.
Judging you.
Nah, I mean, in New Jersey, fights fucking happen. I haven't been in a fight. That was 2016. I haven't fought anybody since then. But yeah, I fucking knocked that guy out.
So this is how, in your opinion, Rob looks up to you. But you also helped him in his business.
So I'll tell you a funny story. I don't know if it's funnier than me knocking some guy out, but it's funny. The next day he was like, "Oh man, like shit got carried away. Don't worry, I'm not gonna sue you." I'm like, "Jeez, what type of fucking world do we live in that like you could try to fucking fight me, my wife,
because you're the one that put an end to it. You're
exactly.
The one
like, dude, you provoked this so fucking bad that I had no choice."
Yeah.
But
I guess what I'm getting at is,
so I'll tell you how
yeah.
So me and Rob, Eat Clean Bro was like my baby. Pliables was his baby. Like, it was like really original stuff, and like we put our heart and souls into our business. And what had happened, it happened to me earlier than it happened to him, so I was prepared to give him advice. Was, they say like fucking imitation is the best form of flattery or whatever. I fucking hate when people say that. Like, it just pisses me off. Like, yo, go be passionate about what you're passionate about and go fucking blaze your own trail. Stop copying everything I'm fucking doing.
Yeah.
Stop trying to poach my fucking customers. Like, there's a way to do business respectfully, right? Like, if I don't know if you have a girlfriend or whatever, but like, if I was trying to like pick up your girl, like, wouldn't you be like, bro, like, there's a fucking million other girls. Like, go get your own girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
So that's what happens in business. So like, I always say, I watched the rise of Muscle Maker Grill when I was like a failure trying to do this shit. I never once in my fucking life sat inside a Muscle Maker Grill parking lot handing out flyers to like my food. You know, Muscle Maker did its thing. I sat back and fucking watched. I wasn't like some sour turd trying to steal Muscle Maker Grill's business. Like, Muscle Maker Grill did its thing. So what ended up happening was like, there was like these kids who started a meal prep company and were just fucking like terrorizing me on the internet. They had this deal with the retirement community. The chef had been stealing food from the retirement community, selling them stolen food. They were couponing the fuck out of everything they did. And they were just targeting my customers with like way cheaper prices. And it was aggravating. It was like all over Instagram and Facebook, and they would fucking,
I can imagine,
find my friends on Facebook and call them. And like, it was harassment. Like, it's truly a miracle that these kids didn't end up in jail. I mean, the shit these kids did, they were just really reckless, super disrespectful, tasteless, fucking assholes. They put me through the fucking ringer, man. And at that time, like, I just had too much to lose, you know? Like, there was nothing I could do. I couldn't go and fight them. I didn't even know who the fuck they were. So I'm like, damn, I guess I got to just take it, you know? Like, there's so many laws that it's crazy how the law works, you know? Like, these kids were so immoral.
Right.
But like, immoral is not illegal.
So
So now going back to Rob.
Okay.
So there was like a lot of people ripping off pliables like left and right, and it made Rob psychotic. Like, Rob wanted to fucking kill these people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Rob, like, dude, just chill. Like, I'm telling you, like, these guys are they're going to put themselves out. Like, just wait it out. Like, I would have kids go to the gym and throw my shit in the garbage and like talk mad shit and try to like hurt my business all the time. Like, in the beginning, it was so normal. Like, oh, you're going to start a meal prep company. All right, go bash Eat Clean Bro. Go like talk bad about Eat Clean Bro. Like, and it used to really bother me. But then I'm like, dude, like, nobody ever comes out of this on top. Like, everybody fails, goes out of business, and like, some last longer than others, but like, they eventually all go down. And like, I was always there for Rob to just talk him off the ledge with like a lot of because like, what happens, bro, is like, you're moving so fast. Your life is accelerating so fast. You're trying to keep up. You're not prepared to deal with it. And you're trying to adjust. And then you have all these fucking gnats like biting your ankles.
Yeah.
Do you ever just let a mosquito bite you?
No, you smack that shit.
Right. But in business, you got to just let the mosquito drink. Yeah. And eventually it fucking pops its own self. But like, it is an unnatural thing to do.
Yeah.
And as a business owner or a fucking trailblazer like me and Rob were or are, like, drink, keep drinking. Come on, pop. Yeah. All right, you just popped your own fucking, you're dead. But I didn't smack you. I just let you fucking kill yourself. And that's something I was, and I think because I was really the only one Rob knew, and Rob knew I knew that shit firsthand. So like, if you have a fucking problem in life and you go to somebody like when we were talking about Adderall together, I felt like, wow, all right, so you know what it felt like much easier to talk about.
We had something to relate to.
But for somebody who doesn't, like, they don't know what that's like. So like with Rob, man, that's like, I was his therapist a lot of the times. But just like,
yeah, man, I love that. I think that's a great lesson because like, as you start growing, I think you see this a lot when people have an idea. They're like, oh, I can't share this information. I can't share this idea. And I know it's not the same exact point that you're trying to make, but I think that at the end of the day, if you're playing the long game, which is what you've been playing, where for you it's clearly about the relationships, it's clearly about the people. People can try to do the same exact stuff. They can go through the same motions, but that's just stuff. At the end of the day, it's all about your reputation, your integrity. I drove down from New Hampshire. Yeah. You made yourself available to me. Yeah. You have integrity. It's about relationships. It's about the long game. It's about how do I make people feel? And if you give a fuck about what people feel and how they feel and what they think about you, and you have integrity to show up and to keep the value of your name strong and to keep integrity to your name, and then you're going to make it. And who cares if people are trying to copy you? Because at the end of the day, you know that they're not you. They don't have your same values, and they're not playing the long game like you. They're trying to get rich quick.
It's hard to feel that way when you're in it, because when you're, so like for me, bro, I'm putting every fucking bit of heart and soul I have into this, and now these kids are offering a fucking similar meal for a way lesser price. Customers don't know that the food has been stolen, that they're fucking selling you stolen food. I never stole anything.
Yeah.
My fucking nothing about Eat Clean Bro is like stolen. So like you're competing against fucking immoral kids who are just poaching customers, and people like coupons. People like to save money. If you could fucking get it for $1 cheaper somewhere else, most people go for the cheaper dollar. But yeah, I mean, that's the mentality you have to have. You have to sit back and be like, you know what, like. And thankfully for me, man, I had people around me that would talk to me that way and let me know, like, just chill out, play it cool.
Yeah, man, that's a huge lesson. And I think that's a great way to go into the speed round. But before we go into the speed round, I ask all my guests this. The mission statement is to inspire, empower, and transform the industry. How have you transformed personally over the past 14 years since making a go at this?
Personally?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I fucking try to listen before I speak. Try to think before I speak. Really just try to treat people the way I want to be treated, and actually just try to always take things and make things as simple as possible.
Awesome. We're back, and the first question I have for you is, what is your it factor, a habit, a trait, a characteristic you believe most contributes to your success?
Passion, dude.
I love it. What is your biggest weakness?
Organization.
What is one question you ask or thing you look for when you're building your team?
I think collaboration. Collaboration is very important.
I love that. It's one of our core values here at Restaurant Unstoppable. I love it. What is your biggest challenge today?
Competing against brands with much bigger bank accounts.
How are you combating that?
How I always combat it, man. Like 300, man. Just double down on our strengths, appreciate the customers, and keep moving forward.
Share one code of conduct or behavior you teach your team. This is a core value, a way to be.
Oh, golden rule, baby. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
I love it. What is one uncommon standard of service you teach your team? So this is something that's common within your business when it comes to food delivery, but not common throughout the industry. No contracts is one thing I like.
Right. Yeah. So there is no contracts. That's pretty unique. That's what made Eat Clean Bro special back in 2013 was we were like the first healthy meal delivery service that you could order healthy prepared meals with no contract or minimum. That made us very special. I think there's a lot of things I try to do to differentiate myself from everyone else, but that's probably the biggest.
I think it goes right back to integrity, man, that like
Sure.
Your relationship is, I mean, contracts are important, to protect yourself, but at the same time, you're not, it's about the relationship, and if you take care of people, you don't need to lock them in.
I said, let my food and service be my contract.
Yeah. What's one book that's a must read to make us a better person or food and beverage operator?
I'm glad you put food and beverage operator because there's 3 books I really like, but if you need to,
it doesn't have to be food or anything that will make us better or a restaurant.
How to win friends and influence people.
Yes,
that is critical. That book.
What's the biggest lesson from that book? Dale Carnegie.
Right. Yeah, Dale Carnegie. The biggest lesson, man. It's really how to make. It's dude for like problem solving skills, social interactions. Ultimately, the book is basically like how to communicate with people in a way where you can successfully it's a book for communication.
It's a great book. It's a must read.
It's a fucking classic.
It's on audio. If you haven't, if anybody's listening to this does not have a membership to Audible, I'm telling you right now, audiobooks will change your life. That book is on audio. Head over to audibletrial.com/unstoppable, and $15 goes to the podcast. And thank you in advance. You also get 1 free credit when you use that link. So, what is one service you've hired or outsourced? I know maybe
technology.
So what's one technology you guys are leveraging that is cross, you can utilize this tool in other, like the restaurant industry too. That's not specific to meal delivery, I guess.
Well, like we use like MailChimp.
So your email marketing.
That's just, I don't even know who the hell we use now.
That's
MailChimp. MailChimp was good. I think we use somebody else now.
Was it ConvertKit?
I don't know. I only outsource the things I have to outsource. I love creating jobs. Yeah, that would probably be the one.
So this is the last question. It's a doozy. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
If you got the news, you'd be leaving this world tomorrow. All the memories of you, your work, and your business would be lost with your departure, with the exception of 3 pieces of wisdom that you could leave behind for the good of humanity and your legacy. What would it be? Or what would they be? The 3 pieces of wisdom.
The problem is it's just so, like, obviously you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. Listen to your gut. Just try to always do right,
Treat people the way they want to be treated. Listen to your gut and always do right. I have loved this conversation, Jamie. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We wrap up every chat by calling somebody out. That's how I found you.
Yeah.
So who's one person you respect and admire? I usually say in the restaurant industry, but we can do food and beverage industry to open it up a little bit more.
I'd have to go with the fucking notorious Tommy D'Ambrisi.
Tommy and Dan Breezy, or is that
Tommy
one?
D'Ambrisi, yeah.
All right, Tommy D'Ambrisi, I'm coming after you. What restaurant is he behind?
The Butcher Block.
The Butcher Block. I'd love to get you on the show. And now, how can we connect with you if we maybe have some questions about today's episode, or maybe want to come join your team?
Sure. My Instagram is Jamie Giovinazzo. I think I'm the only Jamie Giovinazzo on Instagram. I don't think there's any other ones. Or you could just email me, Jamie, JAMIE @eatcleanbro.com.
And I know I want to give you special nods right now because I know that you had a rough past 24 hours, and I want to appreciate you. I know you're tired right now. I want to appreciate you for showing up and having integrity, man.
Thank you, man.
And joining me today. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
Thank you.
We'll cut it there. Cheers.